What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Where's man over here?
There
I'm
he
in the
is.
house, cuz. I'm in the beauty cuz. I'm in the beauty
You're in
cuz.
the building. You're in the
I'm in the
building,
beauty
guys.
cuz.
Welcome back to another 5 round show on a lovely Friday. I'm Puzzle, and tonight we're going to talk about victim blaming with our viewers in the comments and in the panel there. Wantali and Ov, how are you doing, guys?
All good, man.
I'm
All good.
I'm
How you
I'm
doing?
good. I say I'm fresh as a meese.
Oh, jeez, man. Jeez, man.
I'm
All
fresh
right,
as a
guys.
meese.
All right. Good stuff.
I know.
Boy. Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. Guys, if you've just tuned in, right, just know that we're always on Fridays, and we've got something nice for you. We've got a surprise. We're back this Saturday. We're going to be doing IG Live at 8 p.m. as well as we're going to go on after that from IG Live at 9 p.m. We're going to go on and express yourself. On IG Live, we normally, just reading the comments as well as sharing our views on certain things. And as you can see, our handles are over in the banner there. So just just screenshot that and get yourself in and join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. And as for tonight, we're just going to be talking about victim blaming. Well, about victim blaming, I'm just going to go straight into it. Victim blaming is often like false belief and thoughts that attempt to like shift the reality of it. Or before I go there, just like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification button on the Fridays, guys, on the Fridays. And even better, if we just shoot up any video reaction videos on Fridays or on a Wednesday or whatever day, just hit that notification button. You get to watch our guest shows as well as Friday shows as well as reaction shows, everything that we have on for you guys, and we really appreciate your support every time we get on. Right, Gonzali, what's with the smile?
But True City fan is wilding in the comments, man. He's wilding
Say that.
already. He's having a go at me. He's having a
Relax.
go at me already, man.
Oh, jeez.
Say
God damn, god damn. Oh
relax.
yeah, oh yeah. There you go. True City fan, welcome to the show. Yes, my victim. Oh, jeez, man. All right. True City fan. Oh, says what? Relax with the bomb drops, man. True City Fun on fire. True City Fun on fire. Thanks for coming on, True City Fan. And tonight, guys, we on and talking about all this. So True City Fun goes on to say, "Get on with the show, bro. This isn't church. All right. Do me a favor, please. All right, I'll do that. I'll do that. So, guys, just to get back to the show, there. So victim blaming, right? I'm just going to define victim blaming, and then we're going to take it from there. So victim blaming is often something that's like a false belief, like it's a shift of blame. So if an abuser kind of commits a crime and then kind of shifts the blame over to the victim being the person that's been mistreated by the abuser. So in this situation, we're just here to I just came up with this topic to just continue raising the awareness. We can't stress enough. Victim blamers try to always, bury the truth. And as I can say, you as a victim, you're allowed to talk about how someone has hurt you. And this doesn't make you a bad person if you express yourself. Yeah, and and on top of it, if someone else is trying to hide all this and telling you that you shouldn't express yourself, that they've hurt you, there is a chance that they're trying their best to hide something that they did something bad to you. But anyways, guys, let's get to the soft talk and then we get back to the nitty gritty. Guys, it's summer and it's all chill. Can't wait to meet you all and stuff like that. I came up with this topic and thought about it, and we had a chat with this topic. Oh, you're talking about the merch, is it?
No. I'm just fixing
No.
my shirt, man. Damn.
No.
Sorry.
Sorry, that I thought for a second I thought you were trying to show off the merch there.
No.
All
I'm
right,
just
so
fixing
guys,
my.
summer's here, right? Summer's here, and let's get into the serious talk. It's the most exciting time of the year, and since most countries have eased up the lockdown and whatsoever stuff like that, restrictions are out. This means more social activities and gathering. And my thoughts are to say, summer's all about adventure, love, parties, and all of that, alcohol and consent. But then I thought about consent in this situation. Ovi, this week I was reading an article, and just you and me, we're over in Ireland, and I just learned something that I love the stats. I just have to pull out the stats. In
Mhm.
2018 to 2020, like 6,000 women were raped or sexually assaulted, right? And this goes to show that one in like five women are raped in Ireland, as well as compared to one in 10 in men. And this really put a bit of concern in my thoughts to say, like we've totally just created a society that women are like impacted like all the time, and we even have this situation that we've set up like International Day of Eliminating Violence. But let's not get all this twisted, right? Let's just get into the conversation, and I have something that I just want to get across to you guys, Ovi and Wantali, and guys in the comments there, if you can relate to this, we're gonna play a bit of a game here, right? And this game is called Let's Play Victim Bingo. And I don't know if you can see it, guys, Ov and Wantali, and guys in the comments there, if you can see it, right? I'll just say, just pick just one of the slots, one like three of the slots. Just pick three of the slots. Just read them on your own, and then tell me you've never heard of this before. And I got this off Instagram on Doctor Proud Man to talk about the situation. It might be a bit wordy to me. I was looking at this slots, and I was looking at it. I said, I've been a victim myself. I don't believe her. I've heard someone else say that, someone else went to a party, and a girl, got drunk, and then someone else picked her up, was trying to, get her home, but then in the event kind of, raped her. So I can't say kind of, but raped her. And in the conversation is that the person blamed the girl for being drunk to end up in that situation. I've heard this before. I don't know about you guys seeing the slots there. Ovi, have you come across any of those, slots there in conversation to learning about victim blaming?
Of course, of course, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you
What?
did you get to read any of them there?
I did, absolutely, I did. Hey, guys, only that because I can't write don't mean I can't read. I don't get it twisted.
Wait. Come back on the victim blaming thingy that you had. Sorry.
All right, all right. Let's just get it back there. There we go.
Right. Okay. So.
Just read one so that not to take long on that one.
Okay. Cool. No problem.
Yeah.
Ready. I read one. She's doing a
Yeah.
disservice. Am I supposed to read it out loud?
You can read out loud and then express yourself if you can, because then it's something that we're trying to just raise awareness, as well as just get into the
So what's
conversation.
this based on? This victim
This is
blaming
based
bingo.
on a lot of experiences that people have talked about the situation to say there's a victim, but then people are more of trying to say that, oh, that person is exaggerating on whatever they're talking about, but
All right.
this person is a victim. Yeah.
Okay, but what's this bingo? What are we doing? What's the rule of this? This is a game,
The
right?
rule the
So
rule
what's
of
the
this
rule here?
is the rule of this is I was going to go through it, and with time, I'm just going to say, if you can read all the slots and be able to read all of them and say, check, I've heard of someone else saying this before, it is a sign
Mhm.
that you're in that situation of knowing that someone else is a victim, but you don't choose to go forward and try to support them.
Okay.
You choose to judge them in that situation of their story. That story does not feed well, does not sit well with your conversation, or you've never experienced that kind of situation, so you can't relate to the victim's complaint on that one.
This is yeah.
So
This is
if you
yeah.
can check all the boxes and say all those nine slots, you've heard of it and someone else said it and all that stuff, you've actually been in a situation that a victim is trying to express themselves, but then that person did not hear the victim's words, and they chose to ignore the victim, and this leaves victim to not really think of coming out and express themselves in many cases. So I was just trying to share with you guys on what most cases are where people can judge a person just with a few words and how it happens. I don't know if you picked up anything there, Wantali.
Um. yes and no sort of
Yes.
thing. So what you're saying is, look, this victim blaming bingo, the matrix itself is some of the reasons people have used in past experiences. Basically, that's what you're saying, right? And also, if we can see that we relate to it.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I got that. Okay. That's what I got.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Moving on, guys. Not to take this in a long kind of way. I am just gonna go away with this conversation and try to just try to take you to what we're gonna talk about tonight and try to understand all of this. I don't know, in your experience, have you ever had someone else that's been a victim and you heard the stories and try to figure all this out?
Well, okay. For example, let me ask. Right? Let me ask. I'm gonna play the vendor right now. I'm gonna play the vendor. Right?
Go
So
on.
I'm trying to find out. So if we say, we're all from Africa, right?
Of
The, si-
course.
yeah, the situation of a woman walking in the streets, right, and she was dressed inappropriate. When I
Mhm.
say inappropriate, people who are watching, you don't get me, don't get it twisted. It's appropriate here, but from a culture where we come from, as a God-fearing country and whatnot, there's certain dress codes which have been considered inappropriate dressing. All right, so we know this for a fact. It's been on the news. People in the streets, vendors, people would, if someone dressed inappropriate, they'll undress them in the middle of town. Okay,
Yeah.
so victim blaming there will be, people will say, no, we did that because of how she was dressed, right?
Cool.
Yeah. Happens a
That,
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
in
yeah.
African countries.
Absolutely.
Happens a lot in African countries, and it's almost like it's normal as well, where
Mm.
people go, well, they undressed her because she is dressed in a in an inappropriate way. Like we've defined that people should not dress that way.
In this
Yet it's
country.
probably the same vendors that sold the woman whatever she's wearing. You know what I
Mm-hmm,
mean? So it
mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense for someone to turn around and say, "Joe, I'm gonna strip you." It's almost like it's their business model. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna sell you this, then I'm gonna strip you and sell you another one. Like, what the hell? Like, like the common sense doesn't make sense at all. You know?
Yeah, but see, but as I said, hey, I'm the vendor now. As you can see, I
Hmm.
have
Oh, you're the
my
vendor,
my vendor hat.
right?
Yeah, so
Just like Bloom just put it there to say kuminula, which is wearing a miniskirt, is it?
yes, that's yeah. It is
So
actually, yeah,
you got
wearing a
yeah,
miniskirt.
you're the vendor. Yes, come on then.
Yeah, so the vendor has done this and he's saying, okay, my justification of doing this is because in our culture we don't accept you to wear like this. So the consequence
Mm.
of wearing like this is we're gonna strip you naked because you want to be naked. So we might as well just make you naked. You should walk naked.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
okay, it's not in the law book. It's not in the law
Hmm.
book, but there's certain things that are not in the law book that are done in our culture, in our country, to say that, okay, this is the consequences that you are going to get because we are not supposed to do this.
Hmm.
Okay, so the vendor will say he's done wrong. Yes, absolutely. But the same vendor is trying to put the culture in place. Does that make
Uphold
sense?
Oh.
uphold culture. Yes. So I mean,
Mhm,
look, what you see, you're right there. So
mhm,
cultural beliefs, especially for what you've just said, cultural beliefs tend to, put us in a certain position to think you should have done this or you should be like this because this is not the way it should be. For example, for the woman that a woman that gets undressed by somebody on the street gets shamed, and then people turn around and say, "Well, she shouldn't have dressed that way." You know what I mean?
mhm.
It stems down to culture. It's like, oh yeah, what I understand in culture is everyone should wear um, skirts that are below the knees. Anything
Before
above
the knees,
anything
because
above then dress at your own risk. That's, I
at
mean,
your
to be
risk.
honest, in this day and age, that shouldn't be happening, to be honest, so things like that is what we're talking about here, because people will sit here and say, what's victim blaming? To be honest with you, I was like, I was confusing victim blaming with victimization, but, realizing that it even happens in front of us and we didn't even know what the term was. Of course, we know it's wrong. We just didn't know what the term was. It's victim blaming, So where we come from, it's almost like it's nothing. The same people that say they're upholding a culture or whatever it is, they 2 seconds. I've got a comment from Definitely Not Francis here, my nemesis. Sorry, he's coming here. Hey, Francis, I'm talking.
Great to have you on the show, Francis.
Wait for your cue, Francis. Wait for your cue. I'll come for you in a minute. Anyway, as I was saying, where we're from, it's so normal that people go, yeah, but she deserved it for whatever she got, right? It's a cultural thing. The same people that go, oh, I'm doing this because my culture says I shouldn't be doing this. Well, guess what? Culture also says you shouldn't be silly drunk, swearing at everybody, or you shouldn't steal from people, for example. You shouldn't. These things are also in culture. You must respect the elders, and the same people that are out there trying to put these women to shame are disrespecting the women, disrespecting the women when your own mother tells you to respect your elders and also respect females. Do you know what I mean? So on one side you say you're trying to uphold cultural beliefs, but on the other you're breaking them as well. So it doesn't really make sense to me. Anyway, I don't want to go all the way and finish the conversation in one go, but these are the observations I have made. That look, the same person that's saying I'm doing it for culture, saying, are you really? Are you? Or are you doing for your own reason? Or do you just want to see a woman naked? Do you know what I mean? And then blame the woman as well, so that you don't look like you're in the wrong, So
God
don't make
damn,
sense.
one tided. God damn. So you have your nemesis there, goes on to say he's here to support the 5 rounds movement. Holla.
Well, you need to spell here properly, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's on, Francis. It's on. All right, let's go.
All right, talking about the culture part, the question is, I'll just throw it out there, guys. Why are we quick? Why are people quick to blame, victims in this case? Are you up, just in this case trying to put so much pressure on them and stuff? Is it trying to protect the culture in a sense? Is it trying to protect the abusers? Is it trying to protect people in high levels? Why are we so quick to blame victims in this case?
Ovi, I'll let you take this one first because I might just take all.
Why?
All right, then fine. I'll go first. I'll go first then.
No. So I was about to answer the question when you said why.
Okay.
I think the reason why people are quick to blame the victim that has been through this is because
emotional damage.
They know that you want to justify something that you kind of know you've done wrong, right? So you might as well throw it on them. So I think that's the I don't know if the answer would be covering everything, but I think it that, okay, well, Adam fucked up there, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna throw it on them and say, yeah, I did this because it's you.
Well, no, but sometimes it's not just the perpetrator that blames the victim, though.
But everyone, yes, but as well, yeah, I'm going there, but as well, everyone.
We'll get there then.
Everyone looking at that will say that, all right, we'll blame the victim because they know that ever since when if this was the situation, these were the consequences. Okay, I know in this day and age. Well, I'm giving my example. My example I'm giving is this vendor situation because I'm going to give an example of something that I've witnessed, I've seen that is in a regular basis from Africa. I'm not going to sit here and talk about something that I really don't know about. So I'll put in a concept. If for example, back in the days before even this time when you say, okay, this day and age shouldn't happen, you're basically meaning that, okay, back then it was okay and now it shouldn't happen anymore. That's another question that I'd ask, because as you said, when they to say a woman should put skirts that is below the knee, it's a well-known culture ever since in Africa. If you remember the time of Kamuzubanda, anyone who's foreign, white, black, Chinese, whatever, if they land on Malawian airport and they're putting on, and they're female, for example, and they're putting on a skirt that is above the knee, they were forced to buy a cloth to wrap around themselves. Otherwise, get the plane and go back where you're coming from.
Even foreigners. I thought it was just locals.
No, even foreigners.
Is it now?
Of course, if let's say if a white person landed on Malawi International Airport, Kamuzu Airport.
Okay, that was back. That was back then. I don't want to. We don't want to start scaring
the present
people.
now. Yeah,
that was back then.
That was back then. But what I'm just trying to say is, so some people still have that mind. That's why they'll still blame the victim. Not everyone
so deflecting is the easiest. Easiest form of defense these days.
Not everyone like you and me would say, okay, in this day and age, this should happen. No, there's still some people there who still live in that thought that no, here we don't accept that shit.
All right. I mean, for me, I think definitely not Francis was alluding to it when he said deflecting is the easiest form of defense. Like, look, subconsciously, everyone lives in a world that, if you do A, B, C, D, then you'll be fine. You won't have any problems. You won't end up in a situation that somebody does something to you. For instance, if you don't wear short skirts, then nobody's going to undress you. Everyone thinks in that process. If you, for example, if you're a careful driver, you will never have an accident, things like that. So people think if I abide by these things, I'm going to be fine. Then when it happens to somebody else, you go, yeah, but you didn't do this. You know what I mean? Or you didn't. So it's a psychological thing. You understand that if you're in the straight and narrow, you're okay. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but there are people like that. Like they'll have an answer for everything. Like, oh, this person, something's happened to that person. Well, they shouldn't have been like this. Well, they shouldn't have been like that. Or they shouldn't have done that. So
why were they doing that?
Exactly.
Whoa.
So it's psychological as well. It's embedded in you. You believe, straight and narrow, then I'm good. But no, what are you achieving by blaming someone and saying, hey, there's a reason this happened to you,
Oh, crazy stuff. Going back to the comments there. The comments are flaring up a bit. Bloom there goes back to talking about the culture part, to say generally, because we have a culture of sweeping things under the rug, it's emotionally easy to process it through, blaming the victim, as in easier for human mind to conclude that, sure, all right, sounds good. And that is true. We have a defensive mechanism. As humans, we have a defensive mechanism. We don't want to be locked up. We always want to get away. Like, you commit a crime, you want to get away with murder. And that's what everyone else thinks. Like, they want to be in that kind of world. And it's mostly, it's a crazy kind of adventure there. Bloom goes on to say their skirt makes it hard for men to control himself. Skirt makes it hard for a man to control himself. I think dress codes are not really something for people to use.
Maybe read the rest of the comments. You know what I mean? Maybe the rest of the comments. It says what? Skirt?
Okay. Yeah. Go on.
It says skirt makes it hard for a man to control himself than it is for one to actually acknowledge that the perpetrator is a budding rapist and their upbringing might have something to do with it. So, okay, wait a minute.
Can we blame it on psychology?
She said read the entire comment in block letters. Stop being Kanye West, Bloom. Jeez.
All right. Okay, let's go. In the comments there, definitely not Francis. And there's this thing.
Wait. Finish Bloom's comment, because Bloom's got another comment there that's finishing on from what you were saying. So let's say the victim behaved provocatively and not we raised a rapist. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Sometimes you got to look at it that way as well. What makes a thief? For example, let's just go from the rapist part, because she, if we start talking about being a rapist up in this place, like, I feel like what some people are not going to be open. You ain't going to be open enough for this. What makes a thief? This I'm talking in context here. What makes a thief? What makes
What makes
somebody?
it?
Yeah, what makes somebody
I
steal?
think it's the hardship. It's the upbringing. It's the not having access to certain resources. They want to get something so cheaply and quickly.
It's two
So
things. It's two
yeah.
things really. It's wanting something commonly is wanting something that you don't have or can't afford or just is available at that time,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
So what we're doing here is, say for example, the thief. The saying about keeping my hand out the cookie jar because I've seen the cookie jars got cookies,
mm,
sort of thing. So my
mhm,
guy goes and looks at the cookie jar because it's got cookies, right? But the thing is, he has to make that decision. The thief himself makes that decision to say, hey, do you know what? I see the cookie jar. It ain't my cookie jar, but I'm going to go dip in there. You get me?
mhm.
So that is the concept here of the rapist. That's what Bloom is trying to say. To say, look, just because a woman is dressed in a certain way doesn't mean it gives you the right to go, hey, I'm going to dress or I'm going to have this rapist tendency.
Mhm.
The thief analogy, I'm going to have this rapist tendency because I don't have it or because I want to see it and because I can get away with it as well. So yeah.
That is damaging. That is so damaging. But then, so we've pretty much touched on, like why, like the reason why people do this. So now Bloom is kind of pressing on the matter of the upbringing. Should we always blame it on the upbringing, or should we blame it on a certain kind of like environment? Because I think like certain situations kind of lead to certain habits. There are some people that function differently when they consume alcohol, and all of these stuff is like substance could lead to certain kind of things. And some people say, I would say, for example, myself, I would say, I'm a very good person. I'm a very good person,
No, no, no,
in
no, 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 no.
person, in everything, right? So then I end up drinking that one night and I meet a girl and I take advantage of her, right? Without consent, without consent
Okay.
because she was drunk. And in that
Uh-huh.
situation, right, she turns back and says, hey, man, what's going on? And I kind of say, like, oh, you're acting like you feel this, you're acting like you feel this. But in her right mind, she wasn't there because she consumed alcohol. And I was in my state as well. I consumed alcohol. I found the confidence to approach her. That little thing, right? I step away from it. I kind of, offend her in that way and stuff, right? So sexual harassment and all that stuff. She goes back to people and telling them that, MP did this to me. And I come back
Okay.
and I say, guys, come on. I'm a good person. She's only saying that because then I didn't give her some or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Her voice against mine is because everyone else knows that I'm a good person at a certain stage. They're kind of saying, like, oh, he must be so, collected when he's drinking, the same way he is when he's sober. So you must be lying about him. You're the one that wanted him, and you're the reason why, we think you're this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know? What
Mm-hmm.
was that one, Tally?
No, 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 no. I'm listening.
No, it's just I was just going back to the psychology of the upbringing part. It's just people might say because this person is in hardship, blah blah blah. That's why they acted that way. Sometimes it doesn't mean that you're in hardship, where you kind of like abuse someone else. Sometimes it's just a level of some certain substance are not meant for certain people, and when you drink, you might end up taking advantage of someone else that was drunk as well, and then that where it creates that you have abused that person and that person was really intoxicated in that situation, and then they come back and then you're the good person when you're sober, but when you're drunk you're a completely different person. And you kind of like tell people that, oh, I'm a good person, I wouldn't do that to her. People start believing you and they don't believe her because they don't really know her in that certain way they know you, so they'll try to protect you. So that's like you're blaming that person for oh, they kind of like threw themselves to me, or you can create another story. That's how victim blaming kind of rises up. So that's what I was saying, one tally.
Okay. Francis says he doesn't drink. I think that's not true. I don't
Don't
believe
drink it.
that.
Don't push it on them.
I
Don't push
don't
it on them.
Francis,
believe that
definitely
at all.
Francis. That's boo 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 shit shit t.
No,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. I
We
even
don't
gave you
believe.
my R&B voice. That is bullshit.
Wow. But
Straight
then
out
while
to you.
everything, yeah, so guys, I'm just going to continue with this just with time, just while everything is happening, right? Do we really understand what it takes for a victim to come forward, like say to you or to anyone else and say, this is what happened to me? Or do we understand the impact that really affects them in the situation that they are in, and then how they feel to express themselves and how they feel in that situation, knowing that, you know, for example, MP is a good guy and MP is telling everyone else that, I'm the good guy. And she's trying to get the message across, but yourself, Ovi or Wantali, is not believing this person. Do we understand the impact of the way the victim thinks in this situation? Because now the voice is kind of like faded, it's muted. Do we understand this all?
Uh,
I think we need to go back to that question and
Mm,
hit the nail on the head here, right, guys?
bang it.
Hit the look. Let's look at a scenario, right? Let's look at a
mm,
scenario. For example, right? This is what I've been thinking about, like, and this is normally what happens a lot in life, right? For example, for me, most victims that are actually in these circumstances are female. Most of them, right? We're not
Yeah.
saying all, but most of them. So let's say,
75%.
yeah,
75% we can put it
yeah.
that way.
So let's say you're that female who has gone on a night out with your friends or whatever it is, had a lot to drink. Um, Not that this happens a lot, but say for example, you've had a lot to drink, your friends have left you, you're there on your own. Mr. Nice Guy says, "You know what? I'm gonna drop
MP.
you. I'm gonna okay, MP.
Mm.
I'm gonna drop you home." Okay. So said woman goes with Mr. Nice Guy. Let's say she knows Mr. Nice Guy. Let's make it a little bit more realistic. She knows this guy and she's like, "You know what? I'm cool." Her friends left her with this Mr. Nice Guy, right? And then he says, "You know what? Let's just stop by my place. I need to get something, or I forgot my card, whatever. I need to get something on the way, then I'll drop you home."
And you
Gets there and says, "Listen, yo, let's just chill for a bit, yeah, and then I'll drop you home." So good. Girl obviously knows the person.
she's comfortable. Yeah, she's
Is
cool. We're
comfortable.
going inside your house.
Don't
Let's go chill.
exactly. Don't forget that this girl has been drinking all night, right? So they get in there and they start drinking. Yeah, like, listen, let's have a few more drinks. What? You
So
know
one
what? I'll
glass.
order you a cab. So
Mm.
they have a few more drinks. Something happens. Obviously, they sleep together. She wakes up the next morning and she's like, "Yo, Wagwan." She's
Yeah.
in his bed. She's like, "What's going on, man? You know, we slept together. I don't even remember that. I was so
mm,
drunk." You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If she tells that story to somebody and says, "This is what happened to me," how many people are gonna go, "Do you know what? That guy is messed up." Do you know what I mean? And how many people are gonna go, "Do you know what? Why did you put yourself in that situation? Why did you end up in somebody's house? Didn't you know that, hey, when the guy was driving to his house, or when the guy offered you to go to his house, that was gonna happen? Didn't you know that there was a possibility of those things happening?" How many can say that they didn't think of that, when I was explaining this story? Do you know what I
No,
mean?
no. A lot of people know. Fair. That's all. As what you said, one time. I'd say 80, 90% of people are going to say, no, come on. You knew what this was going to end up. First of all, you're drunk. You're going to guy's house, the two of you. What did you expect was going to happen? So don't come on here giving us your crocodile tears because this is what you wanted. You, you,
But
you
but then
probably woke up in the morning, but because you realized, oh, fuck, I fucked up. Then you try to make a story.
now let's go back to the impact of what has happened. So now everyone's thinking you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. The girl has, she's been raped. Okay, so
Mhm.
psychologically, she's damaged. She's feeling inferior. She's feeling like she's nothing. She's feeling like she's trash. And we're there going, why were you there? Why did you do this? What's that doing to her psychology? Do you know what I mean? That is relevant to the question that the MP was asking here. Do we understand the impact of the way we think of the victim? So the way we treat this person, where we just go, you should have just known. Do we understand the impact of what we're saying to these to people that are in this situation? That is the question.
On a big percentage, I think we don't. I absolutely like to. I'll be honest because I'm not like. It's only when if you say like you've seen some situation and you're like, nah, it's your fault. Like why this? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to. I'll give an example where literally I'm both have sides really quick, real quick. Same scenario like you've said. Some guy we went out back years ago and we were nightclub and some girl was all over him. I mean like crazy, chatting away, and went back to the house and he was with her anyway. But she woke up next morning and she went straight to the police and said, "Look, this guy raped me." But we didn't know, we weren't there because we left him in the house and we drove out in our house. Like, no, we're gonna stay here. We're gonna be chilling. She woke up and next day she said, I got raped. She went to the police and it was police and everything, right? But in all fairness, even myself, I was like, nah, I know my guy. My guy didn't do that. First of all, this girl was all over this dude in the nightclub. She accepted, said it's first time to meet. She went to the house. We're like, guys, we're going out to another house party. You coming? No, we're gonna stay. He said we're gonna stay. You going? No, I'm gonna stay here. I'm tired. First, straight away, we said, well, at that moment when we said we're going, why did she also agree? She said, no, I'll stay with this guy in the house. So to me, straight away, I was like, nah, she wanted it. Okay.
The deal.
Yeah. And genuinely, she could be that she was actually forced to do this. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Maybe she changed her mind, even though she wanted to be with him or whatever it is. Maybe she changed her mind. She said, let's,
I thought we're just gonna be chilling.
Exactly. I thought we were just going to be chilling, and she got put in a situation where she was uncomfortable. So, we go straight to thinking, but that's like you said, this is your boy. So you're like, that's my boy. Why would he wouldn't do this? Do you know what I mean? It's definitely her. But then the question is, do we understand the impact of what we are doing? Because this person, at this point in time, is feeling like the shittiest person in the world. So do we really understand the impact, the psychological impact, considering that, mental health now is a big thing. It's a big thing. I think we're in Mental Health Awareness Month, according to, I think so. I think we are. But do we understand the effect of what we say to people? I'm asking you guys in the comments. You've stopped commenting now. I'm asking you guys too.
Because she does hit the fan now.
Whoever is listening today, because the purpose of this topic today is to educate us. You, us, everyone watching this. It's a discussion, and also we're trying to educate each other. Like, do we understand what we are doing to people when we say, "Hey, you shouldn't have been there"? Why is that? Why is that the first thing we got to do?
I'll be honest. I don't really understand, and that's all, in all fairness. You know what I mean? I won't sit here and say, no, I do understand which situation you're putting the person. Because, like my example, I'm always talking about my examples. I don't want to talk about it, Jared. I'm talking about my example. In my head, it's like, nah. You know what I mean? But it would definitely be affecting her. Like she would be sitting there in her head, like you don't know how I feel. You know what I mean? I'm not in that shoe. You know the kind of way.
Yeah, just talking about this, like just to add on this conversation, like how how we were talking about sugar babies, sugar daddies kind of conversation, and then it just hit me to say, there are girls that go into the escort market, like escort, labor to just make a living because they can't really get into other employments and all that stuff, right? And sometimes they have to find themselves in a situation that they're in a room with a guy that's so scary, so bigger than them and all that stuff, right? They're doing that for like a job just to get that paper and walk out. But then this guy kind of forces himself over to her. And then even that kind of conversation of that, he puts more money on the table and says that you're going to give it to me because, he thinks like she's a slut, that kind of conversation. And he throws himself at her and she tries to fight off and all that stuff. Sadly, she might get harassed or, raped or whatsoever and stuff like that. But when it comes back, the conversation is, you kind of have this conversation of like, if she knew that this person is, If she knew this industry is bad, if she knew that, you know, this guy was bad, why did she even stick around in the room? Why did she even hop into the car? You know, like,
Of course, if not to get to cha-ching, cha-ching.
yeah,
So
but yeah, it's a sad one to say that I wouldn't understand, like, on in my position, do I understand how the victim kind of feels in this situation? Or when they say to say, I can't, you know, I failed to protect myself, I failed to fight back and all that stuff, and I say, oh, it's part of your job. You're supposed to know the safe ones from the bad ones, blah blah blah. I wouldn't understand. And if someone else comes up to me and tells me about how, you know, they experience some certain situation, my screaming in my head would be like, why didn't you go to the police? You know, why did you do this? And some conversations are, you know, that client might be the number one client to them, you know. So it's they are trying to protect something, but then to earn a living out of it, but then at the same time they're ashamed to walk away from that and say, you know what, I'll leave this life, I need to protect myself, and I need to stand for myself, and I need to go forward to the police and tell them this. I wouldn't know, like, do I understand how this impacts them when I say that, you know, it's part of your job? I wouldn't be able to put the right words to it, you know.
one time
I don't
it
know.
looks like he knows. Have you ever been a victim of?
Have I ever
See, this is a very
What?
interesting conversation
Wait
to
a
say
minute.
that.
Wait,
Yeah,
were you,
what?
were you a victim?
A victim of what now?
Do me a favor, please. Get out of
A
here.
victim of what?
Get out of here, man.
the
Shit, I'm
way
saying.
the way you're looking, it's like no, you understand how they feel. So I'm thinking maybe this guy was the victim that he knows how he felt.
It's called sympathy, isn't it?
the
Sympathy.
No,
sympathy, you have to have sympathy, but then
but
it's a
it's
support
sympathy. It's
system.
right. It's written that it may have been genuine. Like I don't know how they feel. I don't know how they feel because at the end of the day, I'll be in the seat of saying, nah, you knew this is what you knew this was the end game. This was the end game.
Mm,
You know
mm.
what I mean? And I'm not trying to be bad, but people don't hate me. But it's just the reality. If I come out here and pretend something I don't think, then I'm lying. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That's why we got the podcast.
So
We gotta say what you got in your head. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mm.
so yeah, definitely not. Francis says it's a very complicated situation because sometimes there are situations where regret gets turned into in a sexual
Exactly.
assault claim,
Correct.
and if
Yeah.
both parties are drunk, the man still looks bad.
True.
This is, you know, you're right in this, but again, it still doesn't give anybody the right to blame the victim or even to blame anyone in this case. You know what I mean? It doesn't give you the right to just blame. Are you the judge? Are you the, you know? So yeah, I get what you're saying, Francis. But if something like this happens, I think
Speak up, Francis.
the first thing we do is blame. The last thing we do is support. Some people don't even support. So what I'm trying to say here, Francis, is we shouldn't rush to blaming people. To be honest, you know what I mean? Support, understand, then get whatever it is that needs to happen. If the law needs to get involved and whatnot, but this casting, because it's almost like you cast somebody away before they've even made a case for themselves. You know,
Mm,
imagine
mm.
if we lived in that sort of world where, you know, something's happened to you and you know you're not even given a chance based on what they know. They're like, nah, it's all your fault. You know what I mean?
You're
Jeez,
lying.
a lot of us wouldn't make it. We wouldn't make it.
No,
Yeah, like one
We'll
time,
be time.
talking about that, right? We we're sitting here and we're trying to understand the situation, and, you know, looking at it in this conversation that we all don't understand, and even definitely Francis there seems to be in and around the spectrum to say he doesn't understand on that thought. If it happened to your friend, if your friend was, you know, sexually assaulted, sexually, you know, abused and all that stuff, you know, how would you help them in this situation? Because then the guy that did this to her pretty much is the big guy in the office, the big guy in wherever it is. How would you be like, how would you plan to help them in this situation? Because we all don't understand. how all of this is. And if the person talks to us, what are we going to do? How would you help them in this situation, Ovi? Puffing away.
Me, if it was my friend, uh, ain't really nothing I can help. I can sit right there and tell you, look, well, shit has happened, maybe involved the law, but there's nothing I can physically do because, like definitely Francis there said that certain things can happen and people turn them around because it can also be that way. People can say, all right, you're blaming someone as the victim, and when they're right, but it could also be that that same person is wrong. You've seen it. I've seen things in the paper. I've seen things in the paper where a person was jailed, a student was jailed for 2 years of a girl saying he sexually harassed me after a party in college, right? And he served 2 years out of it, 2 years, and he was out, right? And then things came out that she was actually planning all that just because she dislikes the guy in America after 2 years.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And this guy served his 2 years of that.
Yeah.
Sexually assaulted a girl after a college party, but things came out when her friend, she was texting her friend and telling, I'm going to do this to this guy because she hates the guy.
Wow.
So
Jeez. Okay.
you should also think, that's why I'm just trying to say that it's a two-way street, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, in certain situations, guys, it's really hard to just straight away say, all right, yeah, this person did it, this person did do it. Like I've seen examples. I'll give you a quick one example. The same way the party thing happened. Someone went home with someone and they slept together. Next morning, girl wakes up, goes to the police station, and she was actually 17. All right, so she was underage. Yeah. So basically, he was with a young child, right? It's happened before. Yeah. And I'm telling you, this is the shocking part now, right? He was with someone young, right? But it turned out, you know where these people met? A nightclub that they only will allow people who are over 21.
Oh, jeez, man.
You get me? So this guy is walking out with this girl out of this nightclub, saying that she's 21 and above. And yet next morning she goes out to the guard station, and that's how she lost out on that because then they're gonna blame the nightclub. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he was there in the nightclub that is over 21. Huh? He was there. He was in the nightclub where they're over 21. In his mind, when he's bringing this young girl home, he wasn't saying, I'm bringing a young child home because I'm coming from a nightclub that is over. This nightclub, no matter what, when you go in, you have to show an ID. So she showed an ID, which was fake.
Wow. Now,
you know what I mean?
That's a story and a half.
That's a twist there. That's a twist.
Yeah. You ain't gonna prosecute that guy. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna prosecute this guy. So let's say if you're a friend of this young girl who's 17, what you gonna help her? You're gonna help her and say, he's a bad person or whatever.
Well,
but
I think you gotta again. There's a comment that Francis put in there. He said, "Look, sometimes." In here, he said, "Look, the thing is, in reality, we really are powerless to help actual victims. The best thing to do is involve actual professionals."
Exactly.
I disagree with the top part to say we are powerless, but I agree with involving professionals, because sometimes the facts are not straight, like just with what Ovi has just said here, the facts sometimes are just not straight. Somebody's probably trying to make themselves look good. Again, turning the perpetrator turning to victim here. You know what I mean? So she's gone somewhere, been with a guy, but she's also been at a club where, you have to be 18 and over to be there. So meeting someone there, you would assume that everyone in there is going to be 18 and over,
And this place is 21, actually. And this place was 21, not even 18.
21 and over.
So you have to be 21 over.
Yeah. So in that case, it's difficult for you to just go, okay, she's been raped or whatever it is. This part, Francis' point proves is true. Look, you've got to leave it to the professionals on that part. You have to, because you get the facts right. And the thing is, like I said, don't go straight into blaming people. That's what I think. If you're that person's friend, then provide them the support that they need. If that person's my friend and I know they're capping, I'm taking them to the side and say, come on, man. You know what I mean? Come on. You know, if I know for a fact that this person's capping, seriously, I'm like, you come on. Because let's not just sit on the soft side and say it's just victim blaming. Let's also look at the other side. Like obviously, you got to look at the other side. There are people who will abuse the system. You know, they will abuse this to make it look like they're victims. You know, so you know,
gaslighting, yeah.
I mean, listen, that's not even a word. That's just Americans come with. I don't even know what. You know what I mean? I just keep it straight and simple. If I'm your friend and I know you're lying or you're cheating the system, I'm not gonna be sitting there and telling you, oh yeah, it's okay. Or not. Be like, nah, bro. You know, no. You first of all, you're underage. You're going to a place where you know it accepts people that are just over your age. What you doing there? What you doing there, fam? You know what I mean? So obviously something has happened to her. Now we can flip the script here. This person goes to a club that is obviously, you know, 21 and over, but she ends up going with someone and getting raped. That's a different story. You know what I mean? But then if she's willingly gone there, everything's happened, and then she turns around and goes, no. Then these are two different stories. Like Francis said, you know, it's very difficult to depict the truth and, you know, and the facts of things. So what I'm getting from this is know the facts. You know, you can't just be blaming
Know
people.
the facts. Know the facts. But how would you yourself, Funtali, if it happened to a friend, how would you help them in this situation?
Well, if what happened to a friend,
boom, he's gonna be like
what Ovi's talking about.
Yeah.
Look.
So your friend is
the dude or the chick?
Let's say your friend. Let's answer on both sides. If your friend was the
both
chick,
sides. It doesn't matter both sides. You know what I mean? I provide for me. I'll provide the advice. You know, like because in that situation, it's not a case of what they were doing because what they're thinking about is what happened, what they were doing, where they were. Do you know what I mean? The first thing you want to establish is where they are now. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen next, and what they need to do about what's going to happen next. That's the one part you can support somebody in, because there's no point in going back in events if you are not there. You can't even prove what happened. You know what I mean? You can, of course, comment based on what the person's told you, but to start just blaming, but no, this, you know, to be honest, this is what's happened. Okay, cool. If you actually did that, then obviously the law is coming for you. Do you know what I mean? If not, well, then make sure you position yourself right so that you get out of this. Because let's be honest, if it's the dude and the woman's crying foul here, even though he hasn't done anything, he's the suspect. Straight up, he's the suspect. Doesn't matter. They have to. So the law has to go through their procedures, you know. And we have seen innocent men go to jail for doing, you know, nothing, you know, in this situation. But also we've seen the law, you know, do its work as well. So just support your friends, man. Damn.
Support your friends. Support your friends. Comment from Bloom there goes to say the answer is no. Most don't understand because you gotta be in touch with yourself emotionally to understand anything outside of you. Basically, the whole world needs a psychological evaluation. How are we gonna do that, Bloom? Like there's so many birth defects out there. It's we can't tune everyone to be in one lane and think in the same way. Like but that's a good point in a way to say that, while people are growing up, try to educate them in a certain way that we can help them not to be the abusers, but people have a different mind. Everyone's got a different mind, the universe whatsoever. What were you going to say, Wantali, there?
No, nothing.
You kind of put your finger up and I was like, here comes a point. I was like, here comes a point. But then listen to this conversation. It sounds like the most that all of you have actually set out was, an official way to say, reach out to the, authority, reach out to everyone that's, that's got that power greater than what you have, which is definitely not Francis goes on to say that we're powerless, but Wantali goes on to say that we are not really powerless. We just have to put in that effort of trying to, make things better. But the question, oh, what
This
was
is the
that?
best comment so far. You can do everything you can, but unless you've experienced it, you really can't fully understand the victim.
Understand?
So then, if you can't fully understand the situation and the victim, why are you going to blame them? You know, that's looking at one side as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's good to bring both sides, guys. We're not going to sit here and say, "Hey, don't be victim blaming." No, no, no. We want to hear both sides, like Ovi just said.
Mm.
You could flip the script. People abuse things. They put you in a situation where you're like, "Eesh, but I know the person, and
Mhm.
let's say what happened is the person nothing happened, but the person's telling you something happened, but because you know the person,
Yeah.
you have that sympathy already. You know them, you've got a rapport with them. You know what I mean? So you have to look at it both ways. Like, we're not sitting here saying, hey, don't be victim blame, but we're saying, look, understand the situation. And this is the best comment so far. Like, look, you got to understand the situation.
That man, oh man. So I'm just gonna fire up the last question there since we're going over time there. Um, we've pretty much put out everything there, but when Tali kind of touched in to say that what we can do all we can, but there is both sides to look at, and you know we have to take a step back and then try to focus on this. And talking about that, like how can we change the mentality of victim blaming to victim supporting? Because now looks like the time where it's not only women, it's also men in the situation. If a man says something, like, is he getting enough support? If the woman says something, is she getting enough support? Have we set up good channels to support these victims? Like, what's the change that we need to do? Like, what platforms do we need to go on? Do we need to come on 5roundz and make a difference? Do we need to all the times when you go out in the streets pass out flyers? What, like, how are we trying to get this? Ovi, like, what do you think? How can we change the mentality of victim blaming in this situation, and
I think the,
turn
the
it
only
into
thing,
victim supporting, you know
the only way I would say is things like this one, the media platforms like this podcast,
It's not the
educating,
it's not the only
no,
way. This ain't the only way. No.
no. It's not the only way, but I'm just saying that's part of the ways, like, uh, you know, awareness like this, for different platforms, education to people as well, um, maybe support groups as well, would be very important, for people that have been victims in any kind of way.
hmm
Uh, but the most thing I think is just awareness and education to people, letting people know that this does happen, and let's learn from it. Let's be in this lane rather than being in this lane. I think that's what I
Sounds
would
good,
say.
man. Yeah, sounds good. uh I don't know. Let me try to take this one for now and see where I can land. How can we change the mentality of victim blaming to victim supporting? Uh, I would say, reality is, like, I won't put it out there, but like, I've seen people being victims, and the way that I had approached it, like back in the days, and I've been like, just say, in the situation and thinking back to say, people know how to press the buttons. They know where to press so that people turn around and look at you as if you're an animal. When you've
Hmm.
done nothing but try to express yourself in so many ways to say that I'm hurt, and I'm an innocent person, this is who I am. How can I support that person, and be able to give them a lifeline to say that, what, whenever anything happens to you, is you can come to me and talk to me. I think everyone else has to have an open arm, like, reaching out to people, but always take a conversation with what do you call it, grain of rice, a pinch of salt, and stuff like that, because there's always two sides to the story. You will listen to the most favorable one, the one that links to your thoughts at that moment. But if you get to sit down in a courtroom, you might listen to a different story. If you get down to sit down in the police station, you might listen to a different story. Take your time to listen to all this. Like you said, Ovi, how like, how am I going to support them? How am I going to, change
I'm
all of
gonna.
this? I think
I
you lean to authority, right? You lean to not
I
judging
do
who
that.
was in
Oh
that
yeah.
situation.
And I just choose it. I swear to God, I just choose. I said I don't want to get involved. Not do me, please, because
But then is that supporting the victim?
it's not about support, because at the end of the day I don't want to get looped into something that turns out shit hitting the fan. Like
So so
in the situation, if the victim was making all this out and then my support is involved and then it comes out this person was capping,
Ah,
I'm
ah.
gonna feel like I swear I'm gonna feel stupid. I'm gonna feel foolish. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
but
like,
Ovi, you were there for your friend. Based on what they told you, you were there for
mhm,
them as a friend. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If
yeah,
if it turns out that they were lying to you, they were lying to themselves. You've done what you should
there
be
you
doing
go.
as a friend,
Mm-hmm.
supporting.
Mm-hmm.
because you
You
can
know,
you can imagine that situation, and then it ends up in court and you're there because this is your boy, this is your girl. You're like, yeah. They
dude,
did that.
dude.
And
We see
uh,
this all the time in courts. You find that somebody who's murdered someone, allegedly murdered someone, the family's there. This is a good boy. He didn't do it, or she didn't do it. Whatever it is, it's this. Look, if you're emotionally linked to someone, in your mind you think they wouldn't do something like that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Nah, honestly, man, it's not about hesitating to support someone. Just support the person. If they're lying to you, they're lying to themselves. To be honest.
mm,
So look, a lot of you guys spoke a lot of, you gave a lot of reactive answers. I was looking for proactive answers, because to get in that situation, you already have to have some sort of mentality. For example, the
Mm-hmm.
first example that we gave about a the vendor who strips a woman because she's wearing miniskirts. It's based on
mm,
the culture that's been imprinted in that person. What Ovi said, look, when people were coming to Malawi back in the day, they were told, yo, if you're wearing something above the knees, go and put this on. Do you know what I mean? So this has been so in their mind subconsciously, somebody's mind subconsciously say this is wrong, so I must do something about it. So then we need to change that. Now we need to say, look, that is not good. People should dress the way they want.
yeah,
Let them dress the way they want. In fact, if you do act on things like that, then then it should be taken seriously. That's a reactive suggestion, but also educate your children. You know what I mean? Educate. Back in the day, this is how it used to be. It was wrong. This is wrong. You must respect yourself and everybody else. Do you know what I mean? If
Mm.
we teach people that way, it's going to reduce these things. Like if that person who stripped the woman in a miniskirt because she was wearing a miniskirt, was raised better and had better morals, or just he wasn't as ignorant as he was, he wouldn't be doing that. Basically, that's what I think.
I I
Oof. All right, so I'm just gonna read the comment there from definitely not Francis. I think where's it start from? It start from there. Say, the best thing to have is an open dialogue between all parties in an unbiased environment where there's no subjective kind of views. Subjective, he says. Bloom goes on to say, personally, I think reminding people that firstly we do not know, so we must approach with understanding the victim as well as accused.
accused.
From here, a lot of changes can be effective. That is true.
Mhm.
That is true. And lastly, there goes on to say, definitely, Francis goes on to say, and remember, supporting someone won't always be sunshine and roses. You need to be honest with them for the actual best results. And that is true, guys. I would actually stress on that point. That is true. Your friend, good or bad, they went out on a night out. They, took advantage of someone, or the person is a victim. They come forward to you and they tell you about your friend to say this is what it is. You have to listen to both parties, and you know what? Even if you support either one, but always bring it in the open. Have that conversation openly. Share it with people, kind of get everyone involved, because if it's only around just three people, it's just a crowd, but you need more support. You need someone else older to support you, or someone else that's been in that situation to say some people are like one time in that example say that we all kind of came with reactive kind of like conversations in this situation, and we need to learn to say that what, we have to be proactive in these situations. Being proactive can be in many ways. We have to always share the information that we have at hand, because I myself cannot know everything. Ovi cannot know everything. Wantali cannot know everything. Your parents, your friends, whoever is right next to you cannot know what character I am, what character Ovi is, Wantali is, and everyone else. And if someone else blames me, or if I blame that person, you won't know the truth until you get to the further, extreme. And on that note, guys, we've passed our hour of conversation, but the
What is
take-home
it?
message.
What is this? A therapy session?
How much you pay?
I passed the hourly rate. It's gonna be double now. It's gonna be double or nothing.
We're going.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So it's just I think just to close all of this, I think I would like to just leave one last question to say, I was talking about summer, and kids will be dressing up all fancy clothes and stuff like that. They'll be going to parties. Lockdown, everything just opened up and stuff, right? And I wanted to leave kind of like just a line to say, what, we are old. We're learning to understand all of this, but there are kids that will be going through the same situations that we went through, and we're here sitting here and we don't have a clue of what's happening around the world, and how many things have changed over the time that we've learned something new, right? So how can we educate the youth about these issues, that there are people that will take advantage of them, or they will end up taking advantage of someone else, and all of that stuff? How are we planning to do this? Is there a message that you can leave for us, OVO and Tali, just to close it up?
Fair, straight back anyway. Straightforward, as we say.
A one-liner.
Now we got internet, we got podcasts, we got Facebook, we got all that. Educate people through that. That's the easiest way people are actually getting a lot of information than the news on the television, than even in school or anything. I think right now that's the best way. Use this social media platform, internet. Use the internet. That's the quickest way people are getting information than anything. If we had
Talk to your
banners,
parents,
things,
talk to your
you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, guys in the comments, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Guys that you didn't get the chance to join us, we're always on Fridays, and if you can't really catch us on, just always hit that notification button that comes through. Subscribe to our channel, like our video, share it to your friends, share it to everyone. We might not have touched on every conversation that you're expecting us to touch, but we did our best to deliver where we can. And if you have any ideas of all of this, shoot us up in the comments there to say you kind of missed out on this conversation. But then at the same time, guys, while we're celebrating all these weekends and everything like that, we just have to put it out there. It's just a tribute to Matse being the famous Malawian hip hop artist. As you can see the picture there, Matse has been pulling out the Malawian music industry all the way high. If you haven't listened to him, please search him. Martin was, I would say, to me, he was a game changer, and he's really done a lot to be recognized on every other platform that you'd ever want to put him on. The way he kind of put all the wordplay and all that, Matse, rest in peace. And guys, I don't know if Wantali have anything to say, because I'm kind of a bit emotional on that end.
Together.
Look, for people that don't know who this person is, I think he's one of the most influential rap artists to ever come out of Malawi. And he tragically died at a young age, at the age of 28. That 4 days after his birthday. 4 days after his birthday. This has so Malawians have been saddened, and the emotions of it were really high. This guy's funeral was, for me, I compared it to Nipsey Hussle. The impact that he made is Nipsey Hussle, because people say some people won't appreciate you till you're gone. and it was really that. So, we're Malawians ourselves, and we were affected by this. Do you know what I mean? So we thought it's only right to pay a tribute to him and his family. Our thoughts and prayers go to the Carter family. We feel your loss. Music feels your loss. The media feels the loss. 5 Rounds feels this loss as well. So rest in peace, Martin Carter. You will be sorely missed. And but we will carry the torch for you. We will keep doing it. So as they say, somebody has to crawl for you to walk, and somebody has to walk for you to run. So we're gonna run for you, man. Don't worry about it. And as Nipsey said, the marathon continues for him. For Mate, it's two ghetto, two gotta.
Two gotta, Mate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's sad that we never got to get to have him as a guest, but we look forward to interviewing more Malawian artists and more artists that if you're watching our show, reach out to us. We're well able, open hands. We can have a chat with you, promote your music, get you out there. We really appreciate artists just jumping on and giving us their story, because we never got to hear Matt's story, and would love to hear your story and share with us, and we show you all the love because we love music.
All right, one more thing. So guys, tomorrow, 8 p.m. IG Live, we're gonna be there. It's relationships. You know how we get down. For the people that have never joined us, please do join us. It's an open forum. We do this for you guys so that we can interact with you on a personal level. So normally we speak about relationships. It's on our IG at 8 o'clock. So Instagram at 8 o'clock. The socials are on the bottom there in that red in the ticker. It tells you. So it's at 5 Rounds Podcast on IG. 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, we will be on Twitter Spaces. Again, we continue the conversation there. So we'll be there for you guys. Make sure you join that. You really don't want to miss it. The community is crazy when we go there. So guys, make sure you join us if you're watching this later. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
All right. So guys, we just close up. What's the name of the show there?
5 Rounds, man.
All right, we'll see you soon.